What's good, YouTube? And I'm back with another video. And today, I want to talk about how us men and women, we need each other. The battle between us is destroying relationships. This generation needs to understand that, like I said, us men and women, we need each other somewhere along the way. We got so caught up in social media and everything that's going on, and everybody trying to prove who is more valuable, that we forgot that we were never supposed to be enemies. Every day I open social media and I see the same thing. Women talking about how they don't need men, and men talking about how they don't need a woman. And everybody's arguing about who has it harder. Everybody's arguing about everything. Everybody's debating about who should pay for what, who should lead, who should submit, and who should bring more to the table. But while everybody's arguing, people are lonelier than they ever been. More people are struggling with depression. More people are struggling with trust issues, carrying trauma. It's like we've been so focused on protecting ourselves that we forgot how to connect with each other, us as men and women. Excuse me. And I feel like, one of the biggest problems with relationships is that people are approaching each other with, this thing and having trauma towards each other instead of having understanding. You know, a lot of men have been hurt by women, and a lot of women have been hurt by men. And because of that, people start making one bad relationship turn into, oh, all men are the same. One heartbreak, oh, all women are the same. But, that's not the reality of all men and women, because there are good men out here and there are good women out here. But social media doesn't show you those people because, you know, everybody, promotes all this negative shit on Instagram and online and shit. I feel like the internet has convinced people that, relationships are about winning and losing instead of, building and trying to grow with each other. One of the biggest, lies that, our generation has believed is that, men and women are supposed to compete against each other. Like, why are we competing? Why are we constantly trying to prove who is more important? Why are we acting like one side can function without the other? Because it doesn't work like that. A man brings things into a relationship that a woman may need, and a woman brings things into the relationship that a man may need. That's how it's supposed to be. A good man can provide leadership, protection, you know, guidance, security. A good woman can provide peace, love, and support. You know, notice how those are two different things. You know, different doesn't mean better. Different doesn't mean they, com- compete with each other. No, they don't compare. Both are important, just as serving different purposes. You just got to think about it like that. That's how men and women should view each other. So, really think about that, man. And let's be real for a second. A good woman can completely change a man's life. And I'm not talking about, somebody that's only there when things are going good. I'm talking about, a woman that genuinely supports you, a woman that believes in your dream. She see the vision, she see your goals. She see you trying to walk with God every day and trying to grow. A woman that, motivates you when you're discouraged, when you're going through things mentally. A woman that prays for you, you know, a woman that brings peace into your life instead of chaos. Because one thing men don't talk about enough is how, valuable peace really is. A man can have money, he can have success, he can have clout, he can have all these things in the world. But if he comes home to stress every single day, eventually all that shit stops happening. All that shit stops mattering. A good woman can make, a hard life feel easier simply because she's standing beside you. And that's real valuable. Now let's flip it around for a second. A good man is valuable too. You know, a good man sacrifices. A good man protects, he provides, he leads. A good man takes responsibility. You know, really think about everything I'm talking about right now. A good man doesn't disappear when life gets difficult. You know, he isn't just thinking about himself, he's thinking about his future family, his future wife, and the people depending on him. See, the problem is that, our generation often focuses on the worst example of men while ignoring the million of men out here waking up every morning and doing what they supposed to do. The men working long hours. A man trying to start his business, trying to figure out life and get his goals right. There's men out here trying to be better, trying to be a husband one day, trying to be a father, a brother, a leader. Those type of men deserve, appreciation too. And if we're being honest, the real problem isn't men. The real problem isn't women. The problem is that people are hurt. People are carrying trauma, and a lot of people are carrying things from their past. People get lied to, get cheated on. They didn't been through this. They didn't been through that. Y'all know. We know how relationships go nowadays. But instead of healing, all these people out here, they carry that pain into new relationships. Now they're putting this pain and this trauma on somebody else that didn't deserve and never did anything to them. Now they're afraid to trust. And when two hurt people get together without healing, the relationship becomes, like a battlefield instead of a blessing, instead of something trying to build and grow together. And I think what, this generation really needs is to get back to real relationships, not relationships based on money, not relationships based on clout or this social media show or anything the internet portrays. Real relationships are built on trust and loyalty, and they're built on communication and trying to, really build something, really build a strong foundation and grow together in some type of way. Relationships where both people are pouring into each other. You pour into me, I pour into you. You water me, I water you, and we just grow together. Relationships where both people genuinely want to see each other win. That's how it should be. Because at the end of the day, that's what, love is supposed to be like. Not competition, not manipulating in each other, not being controlling or being insecure. Partnership. That's how I would say it. And at the end of the day, men need women and women need men. That's not weakness. That's reality. The strongest relationships aren't built when, one person tries to dominate the other. They're built when two people are understanding each other. So maybe instead of asking who's more important, we should start asking each other, how can we, better understand each other as men and women? As men and women, we have to be able to understand each other. Maybe instead of trying to compete with each other, we start communicating. Maybe instead of focusing on what divides us, we should focus on what brings us men and women together. Because despite of what social media tells us and what everything online and whatever the fuck going on, men and women were never meant to be enemies. We were really meant to, build together. Just as like in the Bible, God said a man was never meant to be alone. That's why he created Eve. But I appreciate y'all for watching this video, man. Make sure y'all like, comment, subscribe. Y'all already know what to do, and I'll catch y'all in the next one.